Hello everyone, today I will be going over my opinion on what would be a new campaign that we could get in a future update. Now, not the exact next update, because I know the next update is probably going to be Italy, so this is something for after that, to be clear. That's right, we're doing East Africa, one of my favorite campaigns of World War II. So first, let's see who fought here. Now, fighting for the Allies, we have the British Empire, South Africa, the British Raj, Ethiopia, France, and Belgium. Now, onward to the Axis, where we had Italy and Italian East Africa. Now, you may be asking me, when was it fought? And I went to that now, which was the East African campaign was fought between the 10th of June 1940 to the 27th of November 1941 and was one of the first and largest Allied victories in the early days of World War II pre-American intervention. Now let's go over why I think personally that the East African campaign would make a very beautiful campaign to be added to Enlisted. Now let's start with something pretty obvious, which is East Africa, much like North Africa, is a very pretty place on the earth, and I think would be a great background for a campaign in Enlisted. What we could see in East Africa. Now, I believe that we could see stuff from the British Raj and the South Africa, as well as Ethiopia and more Italian stuff, which I think are all things that people would like to see added to the game. Another reason I believe that East Africa would be important to add was that it was a major morale boost for the Allies early World War II pre-American intervention, as it was one of the first major victories of the Allies. Now let's move on to where the invasion mainly took place, which, while British Somaliland was completely encircled by Italian East Africa, there wasn't a whole lot of fighting there because the Italians were able to take it relatively quickly. Rather, the main invasions came from Sudan and Kenya. Now for my favorite time, squads. Let's start with the South Africans, with they having the Transvaal Scottish Regiment, which fought in East Africa and North Africa, and the unit was founded in 1902. The Cape Town Volunteer Rifles, which fought in East Africa and North Africa as well, and the unit was founded in 1855. Now let's move on to the Ethiopians. Now let's go on to the Abegnotch. I hope I'm saying that correctly. The Abegnotch were Ethiopian freedom fighters that fought throughout the entire campaign of East Africa. Now let's go on to the 2nd Ethiopian Battalion, which fought in East Africa, I believe, near the end, and assisted British troops throughout the war, the unit of which was founded in 1941. I also would like to apologize if I am pronouncing any of this wrong. Feel free to correct me in the comments. Now, let's move on to the Axis and what squads we can get for them. The 69th Policia Colonial fought in East Africa, and the unit would have been formed around 1936. I can't find an exact date. Next up, we have the 8th Colonial Cavalry Squadron, which fought in East Africa, and the unit would have also been formed around 1936. Yet again, some of these East African divisions are harder to find details on. Now we move on to equipment, so this will be guns, tanks, and planes. Now let's get on to our first new equipment piece, which I think should be the Ethiopian Mauser. I think this would make a great addition to the game, given the fact that, one, this battlefield is set in Ethiopia and the land surrounding it, and 2, I think it would make a great addition for either an event squad and or a tech tree gun. Now this one I think should only be implemented as an event weapon, which would be for an event Ethiopian squad, which is the Beretta model 1918 semi-automatic. Next up, for a BR3 machine gun or BR5 or automatic rifle, is the Reader automatic rifle of South Africa. Now, why I think this would make a good event weapon is because 1, it is a native produced South African rifle. 2, it is much like the Charlton in the fact that it is an augmented Lien field. And I think just on those 2 reasons alone, it's pretty cool. Another reason you could say is that we could get another allied automatic rifle. Maybe you could give it a bit of damage since I believe it was slow firing, but nonetheless, I think it would be a nice addition to the game. Next up, for the only vehicle of this campaign, we've got the Vickers Light Tank Indian Pattern. I believe for a BR1 tank, you couldn't do better than this, as 1, you know, it gives us something Indian, and 2, just as a general simple event vehicle, maybe it could be like one of those 3 days event. I think it would do very nicely in as a little bit of a reward or a bonus reward. Now we move on to the amount of Italian stuff I've prepared for this. There is not much, I will warn you. But if there is anything else you'd like to see, please feel to tag me in the comments. I will respond to every comment I get. A captured Ethiopian Mauser. I feel like this is pretty self-explanatory, you know. The Italians captured it when they took over Ethiopia, so it makes sense to have it. The Italian Vertilli, I believe that this would make a good addition because it is an iconic Italian gun from World War One, and of course World War II, I believe it was in service but not widely used. I know that this rifle is technically of Swiss origin, however I believe that the Italian version is different, and as well as that is just genuinely an interesting rifle that I believe deserves to be represented and enlisted. But tell me what you guys think in the comments. This is the end of the video. I hope you all have had a good time, and goodbye, have a good day. And a huge thank you to Slacker and Squirrelsy for inspiring these videos that I will be making for the foreseeable future.